How a Georgia contractor and realtor does due diligence on a property. People sell to investors because the house has problems, and it is my job to fix these problems and to fully determine what the scope of these problems are before I take them on. And this is some of the processes and steps I have developed to figure those out. This is for home buyers and investors alike. So let's dive in. I see the inspection period as the opportunity to gather and review the information in a very logical, straightforward manner to help mediate the risk of an emotional decision of whether really excited that you got this property under contract and you can't believe it's coming true and it's all great and it's all roses, and then you find out later down the road that it's not. And also the nerves of it, they actually accepted my offer. Well, maybe there's something they know that I don't know. So this is the process we're going to dive into. So first thing we're going to do is start with you. You got to get ready. So you've been through this looking at houses, doing your research. Now you actually got one under contract. This is a complete shift of your brain you got to go into. It's going to require you getting all the information you need and to be organized. I recommend a list. This is all from my list that I use depending on the different properties. The list may vary, and also, they will vary for each different property. You can use this list if you want. Just keep in mind, these journeys usually go down or a bit of a rabbit hole. You never know where they're going to come out. Because often take you in unexpected places. So you never know what you're going to find. Also, just want to be prepared that you're likely not going to know everything you want to know by the time due diligence is over. Some things will only be answered with time, so you just have to be prepared for that. And when your due diligence period comes to an end, you just want to have as much information as possible. And hopefully doing this will make sure you have as much possible as you can, much information as you can to make a wise decision. All right, I'm going to start in a very predictable spot. Everyone knows the due diligence period is about getting your home inspector out there, right? Yes. But this is only the beginning. So while I start here, we're going to go down pretty deep, think a lot more than you think would go on. But let's go. So you get a home inspection. Woo, that's it. Just kidding. Here in 2026, the Georgia currently has 0 requirements for home inspectors. They don't have to have any insurance. They don't have to have any licensing. They don't have to have any knowledge or experience. Like nothing. In fact, if you want to be a home inspector, all you got to do is say, "I'm a home inspector." So there you are. That's scary, isn't it? But there is a law they're looking to pass after 2028. I'm not going to get into that now. As of now, I don't think it's fully passed. So even if it were to go. Now I'm not going to get into the full scope of what a home inspector does here. That'll be a video like all for its own. But what you are looking for is one that's experienced and a member of one of the INTERNACHI or NAHI, National Association of Home Inspectors, I think it is. Those organizations have exam experience and I think insurance requirements as well. Why does a contractor like myself get an inspection? All right. One, it's under $500. They're usually like $300 to $500. So it's well worth the money if you're making an investment of hundreds of thousands of dollars just to have an extra set of eyes on everything, especially the report they send you. You're going to keep that for years and years and years. And you can ask them a lot of questions when you're in there. And I'm sure most good inspectors know more about at least some aspects of the different trades than me. Inspectors are like a general physician. Their knowledge is very broad regarding framing, electrical, HVAC, and all that. They can refer you to specialists especially that work in that area, or in like specific contractors, like electricians, etc., or chimney person, for example. So you think of when you go to your doctor, they say this blood work goes high. What do they say? Recommend you? They give you a referral to another doctor, right? To a cardiac doctor or whatever. It's kind of similar. So they have processes and procedures and they do this every day to make sure they don't miss anything when they go into a house. I don't inspect houses inside and out every day, and I don't write reports every day. If they get in a home and realize they missed something, they have to go back. So they're very structured when they go through the house, and they make sure to get all the items. A word of caution is their report is only a snapshot of the condition of the home at that time, on that day, that very narrow picture. And it's still currently the current owner's house. They can't do anything that could damage the property to better expose the problem. Like if there's rot, they can't hammer or poke around. And like if it's under the carpet, they can't pull up the carpet, etc. But let's take a quick step back. The first thing you should have reviewed before even making an offer is the property condition report, if there was one. This should start off your list of questions that you have for the property that you need to resolve during due diligence, and also you give this a copy to your home inspector. They should ask for it, but if they don't, make sure they have a copy of it. Send it to them ahead of time so they can be prepared. Here's some of the questions you want to get answered at this stage. This is during the structural inspection stage. You want to keep a report of all these answers in a special file on your computer or whatever digital device so you can quickly find it in 10 years if needed. So you want to make sure to start a file, take pictures all around the house, take videos all around the house, inside and out, everything. Because if something like a foundation starts shifting or something happens over time, you want to know when it happened, what it was like before, if it's getting worse, etc. Anyways, you want to have all this information, whether you're going to live there or rent it out. All right. So things you want to know on this file and have in your inspection report. Where is the water main shut off inside the house? Water. Ugh. One of the worst damaging things in a house. Where is the AC filter size and where is it located? What is the brand, the build year, type, architecture, and all that? Is there asbestos materials era or lead paint era? You just want to know all this so you can filter through all your questions. What type of windows do you have? What is the roof shingle and covering type of its condition? What is the water supply line made of? Is it lead? Is it galvanized? Is it copper? So if it's lead, it's really bad. Galvanized, very not good. Not horrible, maybe, but not good. So what are your inside water supply lines made of? Hopefully not polybutylene. What are your drain lines made of? Where is a sewer clean out? Is there one? What is the kind of electrical panel and wiring? Is it safe? How bad has it been recalled? Are there how about the service wires to the house? Are they secure? Are there trees around? Are there other dangers? How old is the water heater? The HVAC, is it in good shape? What type? What models, etc.? Do you have any gas leaks? Oh, and also with the water heater, what fuel type do they have? Speaking of which, the HVAC and the water, are they electric? Are they gas? So do you have any gas leaks back there? How about your water management from the roof to the gutters? You want everything shedding away. Where are the fire detectors? Where are they also carbon monoxide detectors? Is there a strong cat pee smell? If so, it's probably not cat pee. It's probably a drug lab, and you should withdraw your offer. Should you get a mold inspection? How is the fire egress for each one of the bedrooms? A lot of people think that if it doesn't have a closet, it doesn't have a bedroom. But really, just if it doesn't have a closet, it's not a bedroom. That's nowhere in the code book. One of the most important things for being a bedroom is you have fire egress. Damn. All right, this is more than an average inspection. Here's some other things you should check. Some areas of Georgia have radon, which is you can look it up. It's a gas that comes through the ground. I think it's stored in granite. Especially it's in areas, but it's also very pocketed. I've had houses that were like a mile apart from each other. One had radon, the other didn't. It's a gas that comes up through the ground. If you're on a slab, you're very likely to be fine, because it blocks the gas from coming up. If you're on a crawl space, a lot of what they'll have to do is they basically put a liner down and vent it out so it doesn't come into your house. And it's a couple $1,000s usually. It's not a big deal, but it's also not a small deal, and it can be dangerous. And your home inspector should be able to have at least testing devices. Thermal imaging cameras. Some inspectors do not use these. I think they should. This will help find any missing insulation, air leaks, and water. You can get one of these for like $200 if you want. Let's see. What is the condition of the sewer? So you're probably not going to know this one, but depending on the age of the house, you can also want to look around. Are there any trees in the line? You got to find out where the sewer line is at. Also, we're going to bring that up here later. Should you get it scoped? If it's a really old house, it's going to be more likely what type of material it is, etc. If you have trees. But you'll have to determine that whether you think you should do it. Maybe you should pay for a scope. What is the water pressure? I don't know why they don't do this, a lot of them, but you can buy a water pressure meter cheap, and just put it on the faucet outside, the spigot. Water quality test. Sometimes you can do a quick one of these and you get answers back within a week. A lot of the more depth ones are going to take longer. You can get that, especially if you're going to live there, or if it's on a well or something like that. What are security risks? All right, when I started working in real estate, one of my first jobs was to secure properties that had been foreclosed on. We all know what the foreclosures did, especially in after 2008, right? People were just abandoning houses and doing all kinds of crazy stuff to them. They putting concrete down the drain lines, etc. They didn't leave keys. So one of the first things I learned was how to break into houses. And what I learned is, it's a lot easier to break into a house than you probably think. On a quick aside, on your deadbolts on all your doors, if you pull the screws out, they're going to be like this long. The number one thing you can do, get really long screws, run them in there. That way try to get them into the studs behind the frame. It's going to make your house a lot safer just with $2. So that's my number one thing to recommend. But think about it from what are the security risks? Where is someone likely to break in? My strategy was to make someone break in through the front door, if at all possible, because if they're willing to kick in the front door, they're probably going to get in your house. So make it as hard as you can for them. I try to make them come in through the front door. Where are they likely to break in? And you can, if you're going to live there, especially, you should know, if you want to do reinforcements, on the doors, or if you have other deterrent ideas, cameras, etc. Or just think about that. Some additional tips. I already did the take tons of pictures. Never mind. I got ahead of myself earlier. And not really, if it's going to be your personal home, think of these. These aren't really inspection tips. But you got your water sensors at sinks. That has saved me before. If you get a security system and it's monitored or something, I'm sure there's other services that'll do it. Just put they have water sensors, put them underneath each sink. That saved me a lot of money once. Just know, the safest place in case of a tornado, fire egress plan, fire extinguisher, fire blanket, choking, and first aid kit, etc. So while you're scheduling up all the follow-up inspections with the different specialties that your inspection report probably handed you, you got all these questions. Let's take a step back and look at the land. The rest of this is going to be a lot of stuff you can do on the computer, etc. I'm going to show you some places where you can find this information. I think I left off septic tanks. So obviously, if you do not have water or sanitary sewer lines near you, you are going to need to get a well and a septic tank. And that is a whole nother thing to go down. You'll need to confirm that. So land. All right. Do they have a survey or plat? Also, you want to see as much information as you can about the property. I'm actually going to start diving into some of this information. I'm going to do for a property I am researching right now. I'm going to kind of walk around with it, walk around the house with you with it right now. So just give me a break. I'll be right back. You've heard of it before. Google Street View. What are we going to look for? How it's changed over time. 2026. We got a lot of pictures here. I'm going to go back. First of all, I'll go back all the way. See what I mean. Oh, this house has changed. That house has been renovated. We'll go back and further look at them in a little more detail about when it was happening. This is when I see the progress over time. The 2007. So let's look at these. What these look like now. See these? Don't these look so much better? Also, the Google's cameras are better as well too. You got to keep that in mind. And also, in the spring or in the summer, you're gonna have more tree leaves than in the winter. I think I said that wrong. But yeah, so you can also look back and see when. So when do you think the renovation's here? Oh, something was going on there. What is that? So yeah, first thing we're gonna see if we can zoom in what this says. Public hearing notice, conditional use permit. They're doing a rezoning, so that we want to check that out. See, we already find more information. What is this house zoned as? Because it was after they renovated it. Because they renovated it. This was 2022. They went to rezone it. So we'll make a note. Check rezoning of 850 Marietta Street. Now, this is just a house I am doing a due diligence on at the moment. And let's see, it wasn't there in 2021. They're not there now. But when was that house next door renovated? So we still got, okay, so it was between 2013 and 2015. When were these done? Am I going the right way? Yeah. So it looks like they did, I think that, so they did these two at approx 2020. So that is, you're just going to give me an idea what it's been like over time. You're also going to want to zoom out and go to the overhead view. I don't think we really need to do that. You're looking for the same types of things. All right. Next. I almost got a little bit ahead of myself there. Well, I did get a little bit ahead of myself there. What other things we can tell from this picture that I've mentioned some of earlier? All right, so we got plants right here, right in front of the house. These are bad for two primary reasons. One, as I mentioned before, people can hide behind these things and they can do whatever people with bad intentions do. The worst thing as a contractor, what I see, what do termites like? They like water and wood. What are plants? Water and wood. You do not want them near your house. Keep a gap to where they're not right up on your house, because also you can start to see right there. And it doesn't help curb appeal. Let's leave that alone if you're trying to sell something. You want it to look nice one day. Sorry about this guy. So yeah, like if we would just open those up, it's gonna look like so much of a brighter house right there. Everything's in good shape. Ooh, look, oh yeah, check this. This is what got me. So we got a fire hydrant right there. Your insurance company is gonna ask you how far away the fire hydrant is. Apparently it's a bigger deal than I thought before I started working in real estate. Sorry, my dog is here. He's going crazy. So if you see him, and see what else can we answer from looking at this. So we can look at all, is there anything else? Oh yeah, do we see any big old power lines right here? That's another thing you'll especially want to check on a wider view. Those are not the huge power lines. Mainly we're talking about the large ones. But especially when you're looking overview, you can look at that. We'll do that in a second. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and zoom out and go over that. I guess, one of the things I like to do. All right. So you got all your trees around your house. Do you have any big trees that might be? I just want to make sure that's healthy. I keep going right past it. Yeah, there don't seem to be any major large trees that you should be in danger of, because this is primarily a northward facing house. So on the north is where it's going to be not facing the sun. On the back side of the house is where it's going to get all the sun, because it's in the southern side, and the storms are generally going to come from this way. Hopefully I didn't get my perspective messed up, but they're going to come from the west side generally. So the winds are going to come from your west side, the sun's going to come from the south side. So you just want to keep that in mind, especially for your roof or any power washing or pressure washing. You want to keep the maintenance on. All right, let's dive into the overhead view. All right, and look at this. I found something else. Remember I said it's like going down a rabbit hole. You never know what you're going to find. I zoomed out, and look, we got a blue tarp right here, and it's imagery 2026. So we're going to go back to our street view. This is the house 2 doors down. Okay, they do have a tarp on their house. They seem to be doing renovations. In 2022, they did not. So we just want to double check. Hopefully they are still renovating this property. Because you got some stuff right here. They're a little bit messy. So I know the area in general, because this is some apartments. So this is an area of, I was going to say Cartersville. This is Canton. This is Cartersville Street. This is a sunny side. The city's doing a lot of investment to bring all this infrastructure, a lot of walking paths to get people in this area to closer to downtown, and connecting the trails that go over here. So this is why it's an important area for me, what I'm looking at it for. Now, some localities there you can also find the older street views. So you can go find overhead views. So you can go compare all the older and newer overhead views as well. But let's go into Canton City map. So some of the different places have a lot of this information. You usually want to go to something like research your locality of whatever is GIS. Find a lot of this information on like if you search for items like QPublic. A lot of times they'll be on there. And there's a few other. Where else could they be? This type of information. Did I write it down somewhere? Well, the GSCCCA, that's more for your legal documents. I don't have it. All right, so let's dive in. So this is Canton, the map. There's a lot of good info on here. So this is the city limits. I'm going to go through, so you can find out which council where you have, commercial areas, approved development, master plan. That is good things to know. And this be different from each locality, as they say. So this is Canton city-owned property. Oh, what I'm talking about is right in here. This is Marietta Road. So I just wanted to show that. So we're going to look for, is there any city-owned property? Nope. Am I in a historic district? Nope. But you see it's right there. They just pop up. Yeah. That's the historic district. But we're out of it, so we don't have to worry about that. And these are all things you want to get confirmed. Zoning. This is why I wanted to look at this. So this is RA8. I'm going to dive into the zoning a little bit here in a little bit. So City of Canton vacant properties. Do we have any vacant properties? No. Not right about. We got one here. I don't know how they're going to build on that one. It's landlocked. So you don't want a house with a whole bunch of vacant land around it. Or if you are looking for vacant land, that is how you should find it. Apartments. So you remember I said there's apartments down here. It's a smaller, I think they officially duplexes or something. Ooh, property value with percentage of change. So this is, where they're going up, I assume. They have a legend. Hopefully I didn't lose my spot here. Oh yeah, so this says they're going down right there. All this is take this with a grain of sand. Obviously it's 2026. Things aren't where they were in 2020. Things aren't going up, but they haven't really gone down much here, at least. Future growth boundary. So this is what they're looking to do in the future. Are they looking to expand? So they're looking to expand the city limits right there. So again, we're already in the city of Canton right here. Future area land use. So they want this area to remain a traditional, what was it? Traditional neighborhood redevelopment area. See, so they're trying to remake this area. So the downside of investment wise, let's take a. So the negative so far, we're on a major road, Marietta Road, but we have good zoning. It's RA8, it has a lot of options for duplexes and quads. It's actually 8 acres, dwelling units per acre, and we got 0.85 acres. So that should put us right at like 6 or 7 dwelling units potential on this lot. We're gonna have to delve into a lot of that later, because obviously those things go out in the details. See, here's the overhead view of what we got right here. See, there's 3 buildings. I didn't see that third. I don't remember that third building. Let's see what we can see from here. Yep, so we got that garage. Oh, it's just like a little storage shed. So there we are from the top. See, it looks like the sun's going that way. You got your shadows, so hopefully that's not a bad roof. Obviously that is in the structure part, so you will know that there. All right. So I'm going to take this off just to make it less confusing. Canton trails. They're working on connecting these. So they'd be right there. And they're also improving this walkway area right sitting there. I don't want to dizzy y'all too much. This is stuff you should know if you're looking at what you should be looking for. If you want to look for parks, are there any parks in the area? There's one there. Sidewalks, you should already know those. Let's see, do they have any utility service areas? Do we have power? Yes. Do we have water? Take that off. Well, it's not sure that we have water, but we do. Because we will see that in the next section. We got water. See, that's the water lines. They run right in front of the house, so you should be able to get on there. Obviously, you want to confirm that. And we've got a sanitary sewer that runs right in front of the house. So we should be on sewer and fine. If worst case scenario, actually this has been around for a while. Stormwater, do we have any stormwater? Oh, that could be your stormwater drains. FEMA flood data. Woohoo! So now we're getting into the fun stuff. So we got the river in the city. So all that's down here. We're well away from any flood areas. Contours. We're able to see how level of a lot we have. So I got 2-foot contours, or it should be 10-foot. Yeah, so we go down, so this is a long D plot, obviously, right? So we got a big hill where it goes down here. So in case you don't remember how to read one of these maps. So right here, we're at 930 feet. Looks like we're going up 10 feet. It should be, 2 feet at a time. Yeah, these are 2 feet at a time. So we go... Yeah, each one of these is 2 feet. I don't want to show off my bad math, but I think that'd be right at like 920. So we go down about 10 feet there, then we go off 10 feet there, 10 feet there, and 10 feet there. So it's pretty low lying spot right here. So if you did want to do any development, you're going to have to do it by about this area because it gets really steep. So if you want to build anything else, you can't go more than so far off the back of that. And you can measure up here, see how far we got from there. Oops, selected tool, sorry. If you want to see how far we got from there to there, you got 0.2 miles. That's pretty vague though, isn't it? Let's go to feet. So 400 feet, or I don't know, 97 feet. That's plenty of room to build something else back there if the zoning otherwise allows that. How am I gonna let me go? There we go. And let's see, so this is the overhead view. Let's see if they have the older views of this here. No, they don't have any of the older views. Yeah. That's what we can tell here. Let's see, is there anything else that I should be looking for? So we've got some other houses down here. That's why that goes downhill steep there. This is the going across the highway. That's 575. Oh, I closed that out. I didn't want to close that out. Undo what I just did. All right. How do I get that back? Oh, you might gotta give me a second. Now, is it here? Or is it here? All right, give me a pause. And we are back. Right? Yeah, we're back. So this is the property information. So we're going to start delving into the other legal aspects of this. So this is where we're first seeing our PIN and our, TIN. This is what you're going to find a lot of these things on your deeds. You're going to want to make sure a lot of these things match up. I've already been to some of these. I want to look at their tax bill. So here's their tax bill. I don't want to, I'm going to go into some depth here, so it's going to be a long, see, they're paying, we want to make sure is that their bills are paid. They've been paying their tax bill every year. So it's coming down to 0, 0, 0, and you make sure that 91 and 18D29 it's going to match up with 91 and 18D029, right? That was the same, right? Yep, 91 and 18D0129. So it's currently owned by this person who is, I will show you some documentation on, they are the they seem to be the executor of a will. It's going to have your deed link here and your plat link. I don't think those were working, but you can find, this will all be in GCCCCA. I don't want to go into all that right now. You can look up your deed book and your deed page, so you can find what kind of deed, all that, etc. So we got, yeah, RA8 residential zoning attached. Georgia Power. They already got their tax bill, right? What's in the this is Spatialist or whatever. That's another one where you can find a lot of this information. So we got the same information, we got the same names. That's that person's mailing address right there. So it's Jack, the Jack family. Right here, I got a cause for concern, right? It says zoning R40. R40 would be like for large lots. This is for like a single family home. So that's not that. And we still got 91 and 18D029. So there's in alignment of things. 0.86 of an acre. I thought before something else said 0.84. Maybe I'm not remembering it right. So we need to write down, hey, check that out. Asphalt competition, we got a continuous footing, which is a slab. 1,800 square foot, actual built 1900, effective year built 1955. And if you saw the house on the inside, that's usually means like when it was renovated. And if you saw the house on the inside, that's what it looked like. We got a garage. Remember that big thing in the back that's 34 by 36, 1,200 square feet, and a carport. So at 10 by 20. It was last transferred in 2003, and before that it was 1946. So they've had this a long time, obviously. Now, I looked up to Cherokee County official record search. This is a lot of stuff you can find in GSCCCA, Georgia State Supreme Court, I think, clerk's office or something like that. So this is all the transfers. So I'm going to give you a little bit about what you're going to see here. Now your attorney's going to do all this stuff as well. You just want to make sure to be aware of this. So this is, it looks like it was an estate deed from the grantor. It looks like from Mr. Jack to Mrs. Jack. Or they're not Mr. or Mrs., I assume. And so yeah, I just went back and I would search the owner's name. Then in 2008, there was an easement to the, let's see what this is, to the Georgia State Department of Transportation. Remember it said it's on a busy road, right? Oh no. I gotta dive back in. They cut me off. Give me a second. All right, we are back in business. All right, so yeah, we got a couple easements. Remember I said it's on a main road. So we got two, the Georgia State of Transportation, two Georgia Power, and one I am not sure of. I will read it to you, and this is an example of what you might want to ask an attorney. So this is, they did give it right to enter the land for the purpose of constructing a driveway within the driveway easement as shown. So the driveway easement, that's weird how the, but yeah, so here's an example of, wait, can I zoom in? And this is an example of like the plats. Obviously this is for the different, so chances are you're not gonna be able to come in too much. I can't tell, I could spend hours doing all this stuff. So if you're looking to do development and really increase the value of a property, see, I can't even read I see you want to read into all that to see who's who is where. They usually have the name written bigger, but I just want to show y'all the stuff that you're likely to find. I'm just going to go back to this is going to be the result row. I'm just going to go down. This is another Marietta sidewalk improvements. Right there is another easement. And yeah, this is what they look like. And another sample of it. So there's a good chance you're not going to be able to move anything forward. It's pretty rare you can move anything forward in a lot anyways. We got a tree trim easement. Who is this from? It's from Georgia Power, so no big deal. Another easement by Georgia Power. What's this one? This is maybe, you usually won't find all this stuff, but it's because it's on a major road and you got the power lines right there. Transformers and fixtures in the right of egress, Basically, they're going to do some stuff in your front yard. If you're looking to do anything, you want to read all this before you go forward. All right, this is one that, ooh, no, don't go forward. Okay. I'm confused by this one. I'm not sure exactly what this is. So this is filed, it's in Superior Court of Cherokee County, state of Georgia. It's by the executor of the estate of this person. They are saying they are giving declaring to the world. They filed for a petition of declaratory judgment regarding mineral rights in the above styled action. Plaintiff has given notice to the defendants by publication pursuant to the order of the defendants have filed no pleadings or hereby decreed. But there might be something on there. Maybe they were just doing they thought there might have been some additional land rights, etc. I don't know, but so you never know what you're going to find. I never have seen that one before. That also tells me that potentially the seller, another thing I'll be researching in this is the seller. So they are the current owner is the executor of the estate. The previous owner also inherited the property. Do I have the information on here? Oh yeah, sales. Yes, find all the sales. 1946, it was a estate deed. So the first guy bought it in 1946. These people got it as an estate deed. And I know by looking at the property condition report that the current owner has never lived in the house. It looks like this person might have the previous owner. So that's what we're looking at there. Let's do another view of. So you can research, you can go in here, see, this is Spatialist Cherokee. You also look in the county and your city where you're at. New comps and community. That kicked me out yet. So you can find all kinds of, I think that should be mostly the same info. All right, so that's a 1900 house. I won't speculate on the build type. So give me a second, let me figure out the next things I want to highlight that we want to figure out. All right, we are back. The next couple things we're going to do. Another thing people don't like, including the big power lines, is cell phone towers. You don't want them nearby. This is cell phone tower maps. You can just Google that, like cell phone towers near me. We are at Marietta Road, not Marietta Highway. So we are right in here. We do not have any right there. You can see there's the river. Now, another thing is there an HOA? No, you don't have any HOA. If you do have an HOA, you want to read all the covenants and understand them. Some of the difference between HOAs or smaller HOAs only have the power to, they can foreclose on your property. There's also some HOA law, I think it just passed. It's not really relevant in this one. I'll try to dive into it in a future video. For the state of Georgia, this is. There's two different sides HOA. From what I recall, the POA, that's the larger communities, they have a lot more power. They're the ones that can tell you to pressure wash your house, etc. Some of the smaller ones, they don't really have that power. They can't do anything that's not illegal. They can file liens on you if you do not pay the dues. There's not really much else they can really do on that legal aspect. So you checked I'm not in the HOA. We want to make sure around here, depending where you're at, you want to make sure if there's if you're back any windy roads, what you got to think about, they might be like, in the winter, especially if you have to get out to work in the winter when it might have ice. If you're way back on a bunch of curvy, windy roads with big hills on them, you might want to factor that in as well. Also, a lot of times if you're if you're way far back in there, you're going to have a lot of trees. You're likely to have a lot of power outages as well. So if you work from home, that might be, depending on how necessary it is, you always have contact. You might want to factor that in mind. Next thing, talk to your neighbors. They're going to have a lot of information. And people like to talk. So yeah, I just try to start a conversation with anybody. I know when you're there, it can be overwhelming. You just introduce yourself. See if anyone will talk to you. I'll give you some information. Things to look out. You want to also research the area for like news reports, etc. I know I worked for an investor at one point. He bought a house and didn't talk to the neighbors and all that. And when they would put a house up for sale, there had been this horrible, I would say, crime in the house. And then the neighbor told all the new people moving in what had happened there. And I think they had to sell that thing 4 times before it actually went through, because like the neighbors would always tell them, etc., and it freaked them out. So you make sure you can search on, like, say for example with this, be like, a lot of times they're not going to say the actual address of the house. So we're talking 870 Marietta. Let's say the 800 block of, search like 800 block of Marietta. This is in the neighborhood called Sunnyside. Sorry, right here. And so you'd want to search Marietta Road, Sunnyside, crime, etc. I'm going to go into more detail on this as well. You can actually get some crime maps, etc. But you just want to check the news for stuff like that. And so Sunnyside is an area that's very up and coming. You take that for positive or negative. The main roads going through them aren't necessarily part of the neighborhood as much as, obviously the side streets. This is gonna be good or bad. So obviously, your downside, you're on a main road, and it can, let's say, as of now, when this area isn't as desirable, being on the main road right here makes it seem a little bit better because you're not in it. But if in 20 years that this area is very desirable, it's going to be less desirable that you would live on the main road beside it. So you got to factor that into how that might affect your future opportunities, shall we say. And this whole time you're checking all this stuff, make sure all these deeds are matching, all those numbers. Also want to check your school. All right, let's dive in next. I'm going to give you a second to catch up to it. Alrighty, here we are. I just put in Cherokee County School District maps. I think I did. So we're going to go to geographic assignment areas. That's not what I want to see. Oh no. Well, since I forgot to go over this earlier, this is the zoning. RA8 is where we're at. So we just want to get a confirmation of that. So we are right there. I think that's it. See, and you can view it. If you click on that, it's going to take you to the code section. That's going to tell you what all the requirements are for the zoning district you are in. And then see the parcel, see about the right parcel. Yet 91 North 18D027. And you can go back in the tax bill, the assessor. So we're back to that same place we were. Wait, no, that's not it. Was I reading it wrong? See, you gotta write everything down. Otherwise you'll be saying stuff that you don't know. Yeah, D28, right? Oh, 850? Maybe it's not D28. I'm here. Please, stop it. Sorry, my dog. In case you're ever wondering, he is always at my feet. D29, sorry. I saw the 18 and the 18, but it's 18 and 29. Before I sound stupid, okay, yeah, there we are, 870 Marietta Street. Now, let me get back into the school map. Give me a second to find that again. All right. I didn't do it in the most time-effective way, but yeah, I searched the county maps, found the elementary school boundaries. So we are going to Hasty Elementary, which is nice. See, I am all over the place. This has been a long video. I know we go to Cherokee High School. So geographic assignment areas. So this is what we're looking at. So what did I say? Hasty, right? So Hasty Elementary School is going to go into Teasley Middle School and Cherokee High School. And we got the new Cherokee High School opening up this year, so that's going to be seen as a positive for that. All right, so let's close that out and close that out. I'm not even doing your comparable sales, what the values are like, etc. Next thing, you're gonna see me close up for the first time in like 45-50 minutes. All right, so the next things we're going to go over, we're going to try to research the air quality in the area, the crime maps, the sex offender maps, and we're also, I said whenever you're looking, try to find road widening plans, or I got burned by that one time. Found a great deal on a house. Fixed it up and put it on the market, and that's when they had the signs coming out for when they started widening the road and it was going to cut into the house greatly, the front yard at least. So you want to check out, I'm also going to look into here in a little bit the development for the city, what their investments are, and so let's get on that next step. So we got a lot of stuff to go over. This due diligence thing, we just have more questions than we ever thought we would, right? So let me get those things ready. All right. Then obviously, if you are currently in the area, the air quality is not going to be that big of a thing, but you can see, it definitely improves. Obviously, when you get into a city, it gets worse. Blue is better. You can tell it definitely tracks along the highway, as you might think, and all the major roads. This is way out here, so we're doing pretty good. You can tell this is what it kind of is similar to. We're doing very good in Roswell right at the moment. So we'd be up, similar to that, I imagine. This is like the larger cities. Sorry, I got you all dizzy with that. The reason I bring this up, we learned is that you also want to search the area for this. I lived in the Atlanta area, and there was the Smyrna, not cryogenics, it was spirogenics. They had they were putting out all this horrible stuff in the air, and all these people were getting cancer. It was a big old thing in the area. Spirogenics, I'm not sure. But so I want to make sure you bring that up, at least research it, if you don't do all that. Let me take a break, find the next step. Right, so if you got the Georgia State Sex Offender Registry, just look that up. You can Google it, as they say. I'm not going to show, and you can click on these. It shows their information down below, and you can click on it. You can find a scary amount of information about your neighbors. I just searched within 2 miles, you just put in the address. This is pretty good, considering we're a pretty decent sized city. It's not what you'd expect. There's going to be some in the city. So all in all, Canton is a pretty safe place. Don't want to see how badly I spell crime. It's one of the top suburbs in the country rated. As you can tell, this is where we're at. We're in the bad part of Canton. As I said, it's an up and coming area. The positives and negatives of this is that you are on the main drag, so maybe the crime's mainly committing here, closer down here, because this is downtown. So you gotta keep that in mind. So there's going to be definitely some crime over time, and it's probably always going to be there. It's even for up and coming areas. That's one of the last things that are there to stays there. As someone that's lived in Atlanta can tell you, you see the $1 million houses right next door to single dollar houses. I don't want to be too crude. All right, I know I am being very long-winded right now, so I'm going to try to summarize just the rest of the points I think you got in my the point of the video. So I guess the other thing that should be looked for, they do need you want to look into what the actual deed is. Usually it's going to be covered when they actually get a proper deed, but especially with investment properties, sometimes I'll have, like, someone will be trying to sell you a quit claim deed or something like that. You want to make sure you have a proper security deed. Proper attorney is going to handle this. That should be handled by all the contracts. Let's see what other things. Yeah, so you got the HOA. You want to look out for any road widenings and crime. Talk to your neighbors. Are you in the city or county? Duh. If you're in the city in Georgia, you're also in the county. So you can usually get some county services. For example, the city of Atlanta is in Fulton and DeKalb County. I think part of it in Cobb, technically, but I don't think anyone lives there really. So you checked your school zones. You can see what your current zoning is. If there's any future zoning plans, we already checked through those. Any zoning variances that are going by. Remember that one I checked? I saw for, I think it was 850 Marietta Road that had a zoning variance. I should look into that one. So you read the zoning characteristics, what they mean. You read a permit search. I just did that one. You can do an open permit search. Then I realized how late I was going. So I put open permit search. This will tell you the history. There's like trees down, etc., like that. If you had any permits for work done, if you could see the inside of that house, see, I didn't even get into the house itself because I did leave that to the home inspector and whatnot. But yeah, that is what you should look out for with regards to the permits here. If they had been saying they did a major renovation and pulled no permits, might be sketchy. But I wouldn't taxes earlier. You saw what they were paying. That doesn't mean that's what you're going to pay. Because I think that person had the elderly tax exemption and it was their homestead as well. And it was for a lower value. So if that house was currently assessed to like $200,000, when you sell it, chances are before long it's going to be what they say that, if you buy it for $300, it's going to be listed at $300 or $295. And so then you're not going to have the homestead exemption if you live there. Reminder: you got to file the homestead exemption. It doesn't do it on its own. Your attorney will usually handle that for you, at least the first time. But you got to keep on top of that. And so yeah, your taxes are going to go up. So you want to keep that in mind. You want to do your math off because you can find out what the tax rate is, and you can figure that out. I'm not going to go into that right here. So we'll go into the ownership history. There wasn't much of the ownership history. It was good. Sometimes if you see one that's been transferred a lot between different owners, that's sketchy. I want to see why, especially if it's corporate owners. You're going to look up for locality development search, so like if they're building new parks nearby, etc. Let's see, if you have a future ADU. If you're more investment, because what I'm looking for is I'll do another section of this video specifically on developing this, what the options would be for developing this into apartments or condos. Apartments. And so who is the seller? Another thing you would look, if it's the corporate seller, you can also look at Pacer. Which has information for corporations, etc. You can also research corporations through the Secretary of State Department. And what else am I getting at? What else am I saying? Do I have anything to say? So hopefully you've gotten to, how much is insurance? You got to pay insurance on these houses too. You got to figure out what that'll be. And so I guess just call that a wrap. I know there's something I've missed. As you can tell, this gets you down going a whole bunch of different rabbit holes. What I hope you'll learn, or what I hope at this stage you've gathered all this information, you can make a more clear-headed decision. this is a business school thing. What I learned is do a SWOT analysis. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So your strengths and weaknesses are about the property. So I'll just do a quick one. So strengths of this house, it's got great zoning. It's a nice big house. It's got a good sized lot. It's on a major road near in an improving area. Weaknesses, it's on a major road in an improving area in the short term, and it needs a lot of work. Opportunities, these are more the external things. The opportunities of that, if this area really grows, this becomes like a nice corridor into the city, the value of this is going to go way up, especially if they're bringing up density and you can bring apartments in there. That's a great opportunity. A threat to it would be if this improvement stalls, or you want to buy in the path of improvement. If the path of improvement doesn't really go where you're thinking it's going to go, the value could not go up much. The area can still go back down, regardless of the city investing more money. And you're on, I don't want to show the map again, but you're on some major roads, another major road near the interstate as well. There's a lot of negative threats that could be going on. But at the end of this period, I hope what you want to think of is, do you want to go forward with it? Never be afraid to leave a deal. The week of time and what $500,000 you spent doing this research is nothing to compare to what if you buy this $300,000 house and it's a money pit, and you're gonna be dreading that forever. Trust me. Never forget some of these things. This is the first time in the negotiation, though, that you have power. Up until then, it's been the seller deciding everything, the price they wanted, the contract they're going to accept. Now you can walk away as the seller, and you lose absolutely nothing except the money you've spent. And your agent's probably not going to be happy with you if you walk away. But if you give them a good reason why, you show them why they shouldn't be mad. This is the first time you have power. You have a lot of power. And if you want to ask for some repairs, you can ask for some repairs. If you do major repairs, I'd ask more for some money for it, because if you want, say for example, your HVAC inspected, you can have them just get that, make sure it's done beforehand, just to make sure it's good by a licensed HVAC professional. But I wouldn't want them to do is they put in a driveway for you. Give them that example, because you don't want, they're just going to find the cheapest person. They're not going to do a very good job. You want to have control of that. But if it's getting something serviced and getting the electrical things repaired, I'd recommend having them do that. You can get holes in the roof repaired, as long as you get done by so you don't have to be, roofers don't need to be licensed. What they call it forget the exact terminology they use in real estate world. Qualified individual, qualified contractor. Never be afraid to walk away from it. That's number one advice I can give. And so you're not going to have all the information that you're going to want, but hopefully you'll at least be able to make a clear-headed decision to where you have a pretty good map of where you're looking at. So I took an hour of your time. Thank you. I just asked for likes, subscribes, comments, and shares. I'm Alan. This is Investing in Georgia. Thank you for sticking around. This was a lot to get out. And you should make a list like this for yourself. Make sure you hit all these things. I'll try to put a copy of this in the description if I can figure out that technology yet. But thanks. Have a good one. All right, I got a quick update for us. Kept on doing my due diligence. I managed to get close enough to read what these zoning variances were. For public zoning, they were trying to. I got close enough to read it. Applicant seeks to develop multi-unit residential project. 830 to 850 Marietta Road. 830 to 850, first thing I thought. So, oh, that's that house. Remember, that's the roof, the stuff on the roof beside it. So it's those two properties. And I found out, look, they're owned by Latimer Apartments. And look, I Googled, you can learn a lot from Google, 830 and 850. So in 2022, so they got denied for making a 296 unit above. Wait, no, that's not it. We're not talking that big. They voted unanimously to table a conditional use permit and rezoning application for 24 duplex units at 850 Marietta Road. They researched that would have been 8.204 acres over the 8.2 units per acre over a little more than 5.3 acres. You can see the so this is the spot. So this is the house I was targeting. So this is 2 doors down. And remember, that's 0.85 acres. So we're talking right here. See, and then it's owned by, they're both owned by Latimer Apartments. So let's go. It would combine 24 homes with an existing duplex development in the north. So yeah, it doesn't say why they were denied. I guess we want to look in. If I was looking to develop this, which I want to see why, what reason it got denied. 24 duplexes is kind of a lot, obviously. And there's some other examples of it nearby. I don't know the reason why they had that. Yeah. I haven't found any update on it since then. So that's it. Just want to let you know that we're still working on doing my research on there and